Imagine you didn't have breakfast this morning. How would that make you feel?
Hello, Sage. This is Cody. Or how? Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
How would that make
yeah, well, check it out. Hear the echo in the night sky, with stars and headlights entwine. Tales of diesel and determination, living life beyond the white line.
There's a stretch where silence roars, sirens hum a solemn tune. Every journey writes a saga in the glow of the highway moon.
Sage outcast portrait, where the big lows, big roads meet.
Talking miles,
talking metal,
every ridge,
every ride,
every week.
Sage outcast portrait,
From the yard to the last white line.
if it's trucking and bone,
Deep hustle,
tune into that state of mind. Keep the fire
burning bright,
while the world
wave the night,
through the
to
miles.
the time.
We ride on.
In the endless climb. In the endless climb. In the endless
Sage. I'm sorry. Please don't record this.
All right, I am back. Let's see how this kind of basically works. I am back. I know. I took last Thursday off. I had some things I had to get accomplished, which I think I got them done, and then I'm back today. I don't do Mondays. We had a lot happening, of course, over the weekend. Let me slide this camera over here a little bit. Boop. All better. All fixed. We had a ton of stuff happen over the weekend. And it's getting a little bit wild out there. It is definitely getting a little bit wild. We're going to talk about it. We're going to go over some stuff. We're going to go over, kind of my opinion of when things are going to happen. Then explain a little bit of some other stuff. Let me start the party here. Oh, there it is. Hello.
Hey,
What?
you are not Kevin Costner.
Very true, very true. I am not Kevin Costner. This is Sage from the Sage Outcast Show. Here's what we do here. We talk politics, talk current events somewhat. We talk freight, we talk logistics, we talk markets. Definitely going to talk markets today.
No sound, Sage.
You don't have sound. Well, I have sound over here, don't I? I have sound over here. I don't care if you don't have sound over here. Let me see. I don't know. You guys have sound in the chat? Let me see what's going on here. I'm just going to do this then. Here's what I'm going to do. Watch this. Hang on. I'm just going to leave over there. Hang on. I know I had sound over here. Let me check something real quick. Here. Yeah, we have sound on the outbound. So I just didn't have sound on my Discord. So let's just open up the Discord again. And let's see if this works over here. Let me go over here. Let me test over here. All right, now you got sound.
There we go.
All right. All right. I don't know what happened with Discord. Minor detail, all better now. All fixed. Okay. Where were we before I was so rudely interrupted by not having sound? Basically because, I don't know, Discord rudely interrupted me. All right. Yesterday, a lot happened over the weekend. So I put out a video. I had to go someplace Saturday. We had an emergency with one of our animals, one of our kittens that has actually been on the show. And we had to end up putting the kitten down, which is pretty much devastating to me, but I'm working through it. It's not been easy. So, on Saturday, I made a trip to Bangor, and basically, So Bangor, and I was told this, and I was somebody else explained it to me also. Bangor, if you were going to be a soldier, going to be deployed to the Middle East, everybody seems to make it to Bangor. Then from Bangor, you end up being sent overseas by plane, right? Definitely by plane, not by car. So one of the things that happened when I was on my way to Bangor, I saw a large military transport aircraft. And I'm not in Air Force or anything like that. That's not I could tell you Coast Guard stuff, but I can definitely tell the difference between a small aircraft and large aircraft and a military one. And so I definitely saw one as I was on our way into Bangor. You could see it flying over. You could tell when you get close to the airport. And then I saw another. That would be two. And then we grabbed something to eat while we were waiting for some tests to be done. And I came back out and I saw another one basically all heading out. And then finally, after on the way back home, I saw a fourth. So I saw basically four, I think it was four. Yeah. Four large military transport aircraft leaving Bangor. So I'm going to assume, and that could be bad, I guess, but I'm going to say that those were troop transports heading to the Middle East out of Bangor. So I know we don't know if there's going to be boots on the ground, but I'm going to say there is going to be boots on the ground in Iran. But I could be wrong. That could be just support type stuff, things like that. But I do know that there is definitely troops being transported over there from Bangor as I saw the planes leaving. Now, could there have been more? Could have been, but they were definitely leaving. And like I said, I asked a buddy of mine, and he even commented on the video. He said that when he got deployed, he left out of Bangor, Maine, to go to the Middle East. So that is my insight into that aspect of things, which is very little, I understand, but I'm not a military person in regards to that. But I did want to say that. Hey, there's some aircraft heading that way. Now, most likely the plane trackers and all these other people would know more than me. But that was also a couple days ago, so I'm pretty sure, that, how many days ago was that? Yeah, that would have been Saturday. So I'm pretty sure that they would have got there by now. Just saying. All right, now, we obviously, as you guys all know, we have decided to enter into a war with Iran, and this is something that obviously we're going to have to talk about a little bit. So I'm going to kind of start the show. First, what I'm going to do real quick is start the show with some of the markets, and I want to kind of talk about that, and then we'll kind of dive into that. So why don't we do this real quick? I'm going to throw this out here because if you are in trucking, you're watching this show. And if you're not in trucking, you should be watching this show. Okay. So diving into the logistical market and why this is kind of important is right now, trucking is definitely coming up. We're definitely seeing a capacity crunch. Some volumes are starting to come up, which is a good thing. Usually March, we start to see more volumes come up because people start to get their tax returns back. They start to get some of that money back and things like that. Also, hang on. Also, basically, let me turn this on here. Boop. All right. And I'm going to go here, and I'm going to raise this up here. All right, that's going to be over my shoulder. All right. So, let me move this way. Okay, perfect. So, basically, markets normally come up because you got tax return, people spending more money, except here in Maine, where I guess it's supposed to snow tomorrow. Usually, you start to see some of the snow going away. That's kind of late March, but still in the March area, April area. Except here in pre-Canada, which snow never goes away because snow doesn't melt. That actually, people actually started to say that. I actually heard on an X-Base that they couldn't melt snow with fire in New Jersey. Weird, I know. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but either way, we'll move on. We'll move on. Also, so basically, that starts to open up. All right, so we're starting to see markets come up. Now, if you guys have been watching the show or paying attention to me or in my Discord, which now they can hear me, you basically, markets were down here in the green for everybody. Well, they were definitely like darker green for van and reefer, but flatbed was kind of in the lighter green. Now, as you can see, the overall market is definitely in the neutral, kind of creeping over, breaking the 50-yard line and moving into the other area. Van is still kind of available. It's still kind of loose market, meaning it's easy to find a truck. And the easier it is to find a truck, the less we pay for trucks. Because if there's more loads than trucks, I don't got to pay a lot. Now, I only specialize in what?
We turn the video on.
Oh, yeah. I got to turn the video on back here because I had to leave. You guys are demanding, aren't you?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
God for the producers. I don't even know what's going on right now. All right. So, we are definitely starting to come up on van. Now, there's definitely capacity crunch, and I'm going to play a video here in a second that in regards to van, we have a lot of non-domiciled CDL drivers. We had a lot of non-English speaking drivers and things like that, and there was a definite push to get one more qualified, obviously more qualified all the way around, but also more English speaking drivers and more non-foreigners and things like that. Now, that is a huge push. Like I said, I've always, because I do oversized freight and overdimensional freight, my customers have always needed English-speaking drivers. Like, it's not even an option, basically, because we do permits, and you got to be able to read permits and things like that. So it hasn't been a major issue for me. Now, I do want to talk about something that I think is some of the reasoning in the market that I think FreightWaves has it wrong. I think FreightWaves has it wrong. Not the first time, but I'm going to let you know why. So right now you can see that the flatbed market is also tightening. Huge tightening in the flatbed market. Now, obviously, we're doing a lot of like AI and stuff like that, data centers and things like that. So that's one of the things that is keeping the economy afloat is AI and building of data centers and AI construction, things like that. That is definitely one of the things that's keeping the stock market afloat. They're already calling that a bubble and so on and so on. So there's definitely a lot of open deck that is delivering there. Now, I'll move this to the side for 1 second, and I want to go here. I want to click someplace here. Why is this so goddamn big? Hang on a second. There it is. All right, let me bookmark this, unbookmark this. All right, so FreightWaves played something right here last
tight
week.
flatbed trucking capacity. That's really fascinating.
And I kind of want to talk about this.
How tight flatbed trucking capacity is in the U.S. right now. 42.5% of all of the loads being tendered to flatbed carriers are being rejected, either because the spot market is treating them right or they.
Okay, now. That tender rejection thing is the amount of loads that were supposed to be under contract, which flatbed kind of rolls a little bit different. There is contracted freight for flatbeds, not as much as van, but there's definitely out there. So there's a tightening of flatbed equipment. There's a tightening of flatbed equipment, and I think I know why.
You don't have the capacity, whatever it is.
Optionality or capacity constraint.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
What's the capacity constraint, though, right? I mean, it's significant on whether it's more volume or less capacity, right? That's indicative of economics.
So
what do you think?
I tend to think that flatbed is not as vulnerable to all of the sort of like the CDL stuff and the immigration enforcement and non-domiciled like crackdown as dry van. I tend to think of flatbed drivers as, having to have a lot more sort of training and expertise. They're responsible for load securement. They have to get out of their truck, climb around. I don't think of them as like the stereotypical like new entrant. That's really.
Ow! Now, on that statement in regards to FreightWaves, I 100% disagree with that. Okay? Now, here's what I believe is happening in the flatbed market, and I see this firsthand. Hotshot, which is a 350 or 250, a pickup truck with a 30-foot, 35-foot, 40-foot trailer, was huge when it came to COVID. And we had a lot of people come into that market, monstrously came into that market because, hey, I could go take my truck and just buy a trailer and start hauling hotshot. I can buy a dually, grab a trailer, start hauling hotshot. So I saw an immense amount of hotshot carriers because I move primarily hotshot freight and the OD freight. Now, all my legal freight goes on hotshots. And my OD freight can go on double drop and hot shots. Can go on both, depending on how big the OD freight is. I can actually, I'll put pictures out later. Anyways, so one of the things that was a huge factor, which was like out of control, was when I would post a hot shot load that was 4 hot shots legal, the amount of carriers that I got that was out of control. Most of them, were barely were definitely not Native American. I mean, I don't mean like Native American, like Indian Native American. I mean like not native English speaking American, right? They were definitely not. Even some of them didn't speak very well at all. Like I just recently had somebody call and say, hey, I posted a load. The dispatcher called. He spoke decent English. And I said, hey, does your driver speak English? Well, a little. Well, a little's not going to cut it. So does he speak like you? No, definitely doesn't speak as well as me. Then I can't use him. I can't take the risk. So I feel that because because hotshot was playing a huge role in the open deck flatbed market, freight brokers were starting to use hotshots more and more. Customers were willing to pay a little bit cheaper to pay for a pickup truck rather than a step deck, a full tractor trailer step deck. That capacity that entered the market was a part of that is now leaving, and it's now leaving because one, where markets are a little bit down, right? So they came into the market thinking everything was going to be COVID money, and it's not. Two, most of them that came in the market just came in as a rush. They just rushed in. They just wanted to make the money, and they're finding out that, okay, now the markets are kind of against them because hotshot is also one of the carriers that could be the frauds, right? There have been times before where I've said, hey, this won't work on a hotshot, and then a hotshot shows up. Okay, perfect. What did I tell you? So there's a lot of the aspect of that, out there. So I think that we're seeing a tightening of the market, even is because hotshot is a part of the open deck flatbed market, flatbed being flatbed and step deck, and we're losing a lot of hotshots. I think we're seeing a lot of hotshots exit the market because, like I said, they came in, they held up for a long period of time because brokers wanted to use them. We wanted to use them when we could, because we could be more cost saving for a customer. I also used them because there are times where I deliver to oil field and they want me to deliver on wet grass, and I'm not going to get a tractor trailer on wet grass. I mean, just not. You'll get it on there when it's loaded, but you're just going to spin tires when you're empty. So 4-wheel drive and a hotshot kind of benefits me. But that was one of the things that I feel that we're starting to see a massive exodus of hotshot leaving the market, either by brokers not feeling comfortable with the hotshot carriers, the one-truck hotshot carriers, because of fraud or things like that. And now brokers are starting to push more towards carriers that have more than one truck, right? You're like, if I had the choice to basically move freight, I'm going to be moving freight on somebody that has 5 or more trucks than I am going to be on one truck, just so you know. All right, now we can zoom in here to here to here to here. All right, so national spot rates are up, $242 for van, $272 for flatbed, and $289 for reefer. Now, we got to watch reefer because we're going to talk a little bit about the oil issues here, so that could be kind of making me nervous. All right. Below is the truckload index volume, a measure of the national truckload freight demand. A takeaway from this chart is that volumes are higher at this time than they were over the past 3 years. That's good. You guys might not be able to see this little circle right here, but this is kind of higher. So right now, volumes are higher. Now, we kind of expect this to happen because with tariffs, a lot of warehouses that were either holding freight, they weren't taking freight in, or people were holding off on ordering, or they didn't want to pay the tariff, so they were placing there in bonded warehousing, which basically meant that it has not landed yet, so they did not have to pay the tariff. Well, now that tariffs are kind of gone, and 2,000 companies are now suing the government to get their money back, now a lot of these things are now moving before, some other chaos happens with the tariff. So I did expect this when the tariffs were basically found to be unconstitutional. I said that's one of the things we were going to need to happen. Once that happens, you're going to start to see freight volumes tick up. And now we're having the volume of freight ticking up, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, below the truckload rejections, the key takeaway from this is capacity is significantly tighter at the start of the year than any other year. So this, again, is rejection. So trucks falling off loads, not having enough capacity, not having enough trucks. We just talked about that. It is definitely higher. Again, we're starting to see volumes tick up a little bit, but we're starting to see carrier and going out, losing capacity right now. Now, that could change, because as this information gets out, more people are going to be like, I should probably get my dually in a trailer and I should jump into the market. So you're going to start to see that also. So, capacity goes up and down, especially with technology that can put that information out there. All right. Rejection mode. Flatbed is red, green is reefer, and dry van is... What color is dry van? Let's see, green is reefer and van is dry van. That's good. Great for the wording. I'm going to say white because they didn't put there. They said van is dry van. Perfect! I think it's supposed to be white is dry van. The takeaway here is it is 3 times harder to locate a flatbed than a van. Again, like right now, I don't think vans are... Yeah, I'm going to say white. Yeah, white. So basically, like I said, vans, a lot of that market has left prior already, and now I think we're starting to see the hotshots leave the market also. And I did reach out to Ken Adami. He is with DAT, and I threw that at him, and he said that was possible also. And I said, hey, is there any way for us to find out if that's true? If one of the capacity types that are leaving the market is hotshot. And are we seeing hotshot, that kind of going away? So he was going to reach out to somebody, and see if he can figure that out for me. But he thought it was very possible, which is probable. Anyways. All right. Spot loads. So spot loads is up. It's definitely up in 26 compared to the 5-year average, which is good and bad, because over the last 5 years, freight has been up and down. So 5 years ago, it's been great. 4 years ago, it hasn't been that great. So this I'd like to see this more towards the end of the year, it be higher. As you can see, the 5-year average was high now, then it kind of tapers off in the quarters. But I'd like to see, to me, this is going to be more important, basically Q3 or Q4, than Q1 right now. For me, just so you guys know. Okay, now we got to kind of talk about, now we've done the spot market rate things. We're going to be talking about oil, but I will come back to that. Let me go back here, dump in some of the, I didn't even read these headlines, so we're just going to dive in together. Oil prices climbing. Makes sense. We're at war with Iran, and they want to close the straits. Let's see, flatbed rejections, went over that. All right, we're going to come back here. We're going to move on to the next one. Potential spam. All right, I'll get that there. I'll get that later. All right. Bobby, this is Bobby Loads. You should subscribe to him. I've talked to him on the phone. Good guy. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do a show together and stuff, but I got some stuff going on. All right. Let me play
I'm pretty good.
He had one that says basically, this is why carriers are getting mad, and it was basically the gist in regards to, well, let's play.
So far, from the looks of it, this Monday, everything's still...
Oh, also the phone, I will turn the phone on. If you have a logistics call, or anything that type of stuff, let me know. Trucking, logistics, stuff like that. All right, let me turn that on. Let me turn Bobby back on.
It kind of seems the same. The rates still seem good. I mean, everything's looking good so far, so I can't really complain. Besides for brokers, definitely going to complain about brokers because there are some.
We should always complain about brokers.
Some brokers, dude. I'm going to have to talk about that a little bit too. Like, it's already Monday. Like, had one guy give me a load. So I took it, and like 45 minutes went by. I wrote an email. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Where's the load at?
Oh, if you guys would do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, share this out. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm not going to be, since I don't, there's some changes going on, obviously, and I'm hoping to be able to make more of an announcement maybe Thursday, but worst case, next Tuesday. So I'm moving more into logistics and things like that. One, I understand that you're going to get a lot more traction, a lot more viewers, and a lot more punch when you're doing political stuff, when you're, either pushing different types of angles, right or left. I'm kind of past that. I know it's going to piss some people off, but it is what it is. So, and I'm kind of making some changes. I've taken a new job as a transportation risk analysis, and I'm going to be doing a lot more when it comes to that. So some of the things that I'm going to be doing is doing compliance and selling and handling insurance and consulting, doing consults with carriers, especially open deck carriers and some van carriers, but certain ones, but mostly open deck carriers and over-dimensional freight and specialized equipment people. To basically help them grow their company. So there is a huge gap, in my opinion, in regards to logistics and knowledge of logistics. Like, there's a difference between trucking and logistics. And logistics is the overall picture. Trucking is one spoke of the wheel. But a lot of people have a difficult time understanding logistics and the importance of growth with the company, what actually allows you to grow, kind of what the breaking point is. And what we're basically seeing is that when you have like 4 trucks or less, or 5 trucks or less, a lot of times you really don't care about the compliance aspect of it because you're out there, you're just hustling. You're just out there trying to make as much money as you possibly can. You're not really considering growing your company. You're not looking at long-term growth, building your empire, and anything like that. So a lot of times what we see is that we don't care about either learning the logistics or learning the knowledge or doing things that basically will make you smarter in the industry in which you're trying to grow a company in. I kind of find that weird, to be completely honest. Like, when I was building my business in regards to trucking, I need I need to know as much about trucking as I could. So I got a CDL, I became an owner-operator, became a carrier. And then when I moved into logistics, it was a big jump. Like, I thought I knew everything when I was a truck driver, but I kind of only saw the windshield view. And then when I finally moved into logistics, I started to learn the top-down view of logistics, like understanding the big picture, understanding shippers and receivers, what they need, what carriers need, what truck drivers need, because you have to put it all together. So when I start to realize that, hey, guess what? Shippers are also in competition, or manufacturers are also in competition with each other. So when we're quoting on freight, and we're quoting on the transportation lanes of things, that could win or lose a bid for a manufacturing company, right? Transportation could cause them to lose the bid and not get the job. And that plays a huge role in regards to, that manufacturer being able to keep their doors open, feed their people. So at one time, I just thought the brokers kept all the money and the shippers had a blank checkbook and they'd pay whatever they wanted and there was no competition. And I didn't understand supply and demand. I didn't understand, business 101, economics, any of this stuff. And I was there. So as I start to build my business, my goal was to basically say, hey, I got to be smarter than everybody else. I got to be 10% smarter than the guy next to me. I've got to know everything about this industry so I can kind of grow and become better, more profitable, and things like that. So I I just started to realize that there are a lot of individuals out there, a lot of carriers out there that when I started to look at the numbers and I started to say, okay, I've got freight to move. Like I have, when I have freight that my customers need moved, I started to really look into the compliance aspects of these carriers. And what I think what a lot of drivers are going to have to start to realize is you guys wanted better drivers. We all want better carriers. We all want, and I know we push a lot towards like, hey, the non-domiciled CDL drivers and the CDL mills and, all these people can't drive and they're hurting our industry and they're all bad drivers and things like that, right? But I think one of the things I want people to realize is that it's not just getting rid of non-domiciled CDL drivers, right? We have nuclear verdicts. We have safety and compliance issues. We have trucking companies that are both American and foreign that have issues. And if we all want a better trucking, if we all want safer roads like we say we want, then we're all going to have to realize that compliance and safety scores are going to be watched for all of us. They're going to be watched for all of us. And what I mean by that is my customers are now watching who I pick, and they should, and they always have. They're now watching who I pick as a carrier to load the freight, right? What are the safety scores of the carrier that is coming in there to load? And it doesn't matter if they can speak great English. If their safety scores are crap, then guess what? We're not going to load you. Because the first thing that matters is the math, right? And if the math don't know mathin', meaning you have a safety score that is bad for, equipment and bad for drivers, I might just have to skip you. I might just have to say, sorry, I can't use you, right? I can't use you. And that's something that insurance companies are also going to start to look at. Like I said, we all want safer drivers now. We all want higher standards for this industry. And if we're going to ask for higher standards, those higher standards aren't just going to be for certain individuals. They're going to be for all of us. And I'm just seeing that a lot of carriers that are out there don't realize the importance that I think is going to come down from the safety, from the compliance. In regards from underwriters, from insurance companies, from manufacturers, from customers, the people, the ones that freight brokers are now, answering to when they talk to their shippers and their customers that, hey, a nuclear verdict could come to your doorstep, and you could be involved in a lawsuit if you hire the wrong broker who hires the wrong carrier. So that's something that I decided that it's time for me to go down that road and go back into logistics and back into trucking. Now, am I going to take a hit on the channel? Probably, but that's okay. That's okay. It is what it is. So that being said, also making an announcement, and I'm going to do a short on this, and I'm going to do multiple shorts on this because I cannot believe if you are in any way, shape, or form, especially open deck, especially at a manufacturer, and especially doing oversized, which I haven't had my oversized guys do this, my legal guys do this. If you do not have full PPE, meaning personal protection equipment, glasses, boots, vest, pants, long sleeve shirts, gloves, glasses, helmet, stop it. Stop it. Don't go into a job site as an open deck and not have this stuff. Matter of fact, if you're hauling any of my freight, you will go away and they will not load you. I am telling them that if you do not come out with this equipment on and show up in this full safety equipment, you will be sent away and you will be banned from me using you. Because if you're at this point, if you're not capable of understanding that, you shouldn't be out there doing open deck. All right. Public service announcement done. Let us move on. Right, Bobby?
He's like, oh, it's covered. Like, I'm like, yeah, I covered it with you. He's like, no, it's gone. He's like, if you want, I can give you something else. And then I'm like, bro, I'm like, why wouldn't you just tell me you covered the load? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. Just be like, hey, because I quoted him like $50 more than what he posted it for. So he probably found somebody that wanted, that took the load for the amount he posted it for. So that's no problem. He could have hit me up, be like, hey, could you match the rate? I just got somebody cheaper. Or hey, I'm gonna give this to the person, look for another load. Nope, they don't give a shit, bro. They just fucking have you waste an hour. You could have been looking for a load. You know what I mean? They don't give a shit. Another guy covered the truck, ghosted me, sent me a highway setup package. Did everything. Mailed them like 3 times already. It's been like 3 hours. Nothing. Like, Jesus Christ, bro. What's up with these freight brokers, man? I'm telling you, these guys are a bunch of fucking assholes, man. Like, they're really a bunch of assholes. But I mean, they're going to get what they deserve because as long as the market keeps on going hot, I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. They're going to understand what the hell is coming from, man. They're going to realize that they keep on screwing people over. They're not going to get their loads taken from them, and then they're not going to move their loads in the hot market, dude. So over that $50, whatever, at least give me an opportunity to match it, or don't send the Raycon. I hope they don't, I hope that carrier screws them over, bro. Freight karma, dude. They're going to get what they're going to get.
True. And this is another thing, too, that we have to all understand in this industry, right? Like, if somebody commits to a load, and this goes both ways, for carriers and for brokers. If you commit to a load to a carrier, then give them the load. If you commit to a load, to take a load, then do the load, right? Because this kind of goes both ways. But I do agree with Bobby on this one, that if that commitment was made, just do it. Just do it. Just make it happen.
But what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? Broker's going to do broker shit. Hopefully the market still keeps on getting hot, and we're just going to keep treating them like shit, dude. But once the market flips, they're going to remember this shit. But hey, we remember the last 3 years. You know what I mean? What the fuck happened the last 3 years? We're getting beaten up, dude. I don't even know how I'm still in business, dude, after the last 3 years. But somehow, luckily, still am. So whatever. Screw them. Keep it going. There's plenty of loads out here. We don't have to sit here and cry about one or.
Also, I'm going to be using. I've got a feature software which a buddy of mine let me. I have access to. It's going to be search carriers. So we're going to be doing some stuff. We're going to be doing some good stuff on the channel. 2 bad brokers. Just keep on booking the freight, keep on getting good loads, and screw those guys. But dude, a broker was charging $450 because driver didn't remove load bars. Oh my goodness. Dude, they're going to do anything right now, these scumbag brokers. They're going to do anything, bro, to try to deduct you a couple bucks because they're losing money. So they're going to be like, oh, no tracking. You didn't remove load bars. Oh, your driver didn't call me every 15 minutes. Whatever, man. You know what I mean? They're going to do whatever the fuck they're going to try to do. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. All right, let's get into the market, bro. What's good, dude? Florida showing red for dry vans. Nope. I was actually in Jacksonville today, bro. I did take a cheap ass load, but I took like $4 going in, so it didn't matter. Just deadheaded up to Savannah, grabbed the load, and headed over to Tennessee to a better market. And I already got that truck covered for tomorrow. Out of Tennessee already, pretty much the same place they're delivering to, right down the street. So that worked out last week. Last week was super good, man. I actually had one truck. I grossed, I think, like $11,715, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, dude. Over almost $12,000 on one truck in 1 week, man. It was absolutely crazy, man. But I'm only doing 3 trucks right now, so I think the gross was like 28 something for 3 trucks. So if you average it out, it's still a pretty nice chunk of change for 3 trucks, man. But what are you gonna do? But yeah, let's get into the markets, man. Florida, don't trust it whatsoever. Beat it with that shit. Unless you go up north in Florida, like Jacksonville, maybe like Panama City, somewhere northern where you can still deadhead to like Brunswick, Savannah, and these other places in Georgia. Now, real quick too, if we are going to conflict, realize that you guys that are on the East Coast, obviously. Let's go to marine traffic right here. We'll come back to you, Mr. Straits. If you are on this side of the planet, I would definitely watch these ports. These ports outbound and stuff going to the port. We might see a lot more stuff going to the port. I don't know how long this war's going to last. I don't know how long this conflict allegedly is going to last. So that's one of the things that definitely the ports could be something that we're going to be using a lot more. Let me go back here.
To get a load, I would say, okay, hey, what's going on, rookie? New Jersey, let's do New Jersey. New Jersey dry vans, right? I don't know, hope so, because we're on dry vans right now. Northern New Jersey is still absolutely hot, man. I mean, if you're in Northern New Jersey and you're looking for like, what I mean, like Chicago or like some backhaul shit, then you're not gonna get the best money. But if you're open to going wherever, you're gonna get a good load out of there, man. So I wouldn't mind. Like, dude, I've been hitting on Pittsburgh, dude. Pittsburgh a lot, and coming back out of Pittsburgh going south, like $2.80, $3 a mile, dude, going back down there. And I know a lot of people be complaining about Georgia, dude. I've hit up Georgia a few times in the last like couple weeks.
One thing you also going to want to do is if you are in, and this goes towards everybody, but if you are an open deck carrier and you are noticing good rates coming out, start to remember. You guys are going to want to keep notes or keep track of what the product was that you were hauling and the rates that you were getting. so that you can basically say, hey, this is the type of product that's moving that quite well and consistently, and keep track of that. That's all part of like running your business. What's going on here? All better now. That's all part of kind of like running your business, is making sure that you keep these notes and keep track of this data. Not a lot of carriers want to do that. They just want to grab the next load.
And every time I hit up Georgia, I do good coming out of there. So I don't know why people are crying about Georgia, but Atlanta, you're going to get some good freight. I got a guy in Dallas tomorrow. That's one of the brokers that screwed me, never sent me a Raycon.
Bobby, if you had flatbed equipment, I could help you out, but you don't run open deck, you door swinger.
So I don't know, man.
I hope you see this, Bobby. I hope you see this.
Dallas is looking like it's a lot of volume, but still, like, there was only one load that I see that I wanted to take, and it's that guy that goes to me, and I agreed to his price, dude, which is crazy. So I don't know why the hell he goes to me, but so we'll see. I'll let you guys know how Dallas goes tomorrow. But Dallas has a lot of volume, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna find something halfway decent out of Dallas tomorrow. Tennessee has been absolutely lovely, bro, for dry vans. Memphis absolutely hot, dude. Nashville hot. Knoxville hot. Man, like I pulled I was like last week was a plant load from like I forgot what part of Tennessee, but I went down to like Pittsburgh area, 2 drops. It was the driver unload for plants, but it's like $5.50 a mile, dude, which was like that load like made that week for that guy, dude. Like, well, I mean, he already was having a good week, but it's what put it over the edge. We really got us like to that 11 almost 12K gross. So what do you say in New Jersey area to Chicago and back all week? No, I'm saying like if you're in northern New Jersey that has a lot of freight, and you need to say you live in Chicago, you got to get your driver to Chicago. That's a backhaul. You know what I mean? That's a backhaul lane.
Correct.
So a lot of people want to do it, so the rates are not going to be as good from northern New Jersey to Chicago. But if you're open to going wherever out of that market, you're going to get a lot better rate, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. Dry van Detroit, huh? Let's go. Western Michigan wasn't bad today. I booked a decent load for tomorrow already. Coming out of there. Detroit areas, it looks like it's a little bit... they're about the same. Detroit got a little bit more trucks posted. But they got the same amount of loads posted pretty much, dude. So I think
I'm going to try to get on. I'm going to talk to Bobby about possibly dropping some other link, because I'm not getting on the show through TikTok, and I'm not going on TikTok through my phone. That's just crazy.
Should be pretty good, man. I think you'll be all right. I think you'll get a decent load. You're not that far from Ohio either, bro. Ohio's absolutely cooking right now, dude. So I think if you got to deadhead a little bit south towards the border, I think you're going to be fine in Detroit with your dry van, bro. Dry van Macedonia, Ohio. Where's that at? By Cleveland, right? Yeah, Cleveland's absolutely a smoke show right now, bro. Like over 7,200 loads, 592 trucks. Yeah, I think you're gonna be super good over there in Ohio with your dry van, bro. Take advantage. Make sure you get a good rate. Don't waste that. Don't waste that. Fucking be having your dry van there to get a shitty rate out of there. Nordius, Dallas has a lot of freight, but not ready to pay. Laredo's looking very good. Yeah, dude, Dallas was doing nonstop load board. Boom, boom, boom. Freight. Cheap. I think tomorrow, bro. Once it comes closer to having to move their shit, I think Dallas is one of those places where you got to look the day of and just catch somebody when they need to move a load. It's not one of those places where you want to pre-book a day before. Unfortunately, I should have thought about that before I wasted like 2 hours looking today. But it is what it is. How do you guys like to find your drivers? For the drivers, we've been doing social media marketing, bro, and meta ads. It's like a whole thing I don't know too much about. My buddy does that part of the shit, but we've actually been doing that for a lot of companies and having a lot of success with that. So that's probably the only way right now, bro, like to really get drivers is you got to really start running ads and start doing social media. Even if you shoot, even if you don't want to do your own content, I would say just like hire somebody to do the content or do shit like that and post it up and then run meta ads behind it. And then I'm saying that's probably gonna be your best chance to get drivers right now, bro. Just posting on Craigslist doesn't work no more. Facebook, like the regular, running ads, the regular, like just a picture of words and a truck. That shit's not working no more, bro. Drivers are hard to get right now. Market's in their favor, so they know.
Good drivers are even harder to get, just so you guys know. Good drivers are even harder to get.
Oh, like if drivers know right now, they need to get paid if they go somewhere, dude. Driving in South Carolina, depends where you're at, dude. Charleston, not too hot. Once you start going towards Greenville, Charlotte, that's where you're gonna start popping. Charlotte's popping right now, dude. And then Columbia, like Central, South Carolina's pretty good. I've been having luck in South Carolina too, dude. I've been hitting those markets up, like Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and heading back like to Pittsburgh. Dude, Pittsburgh's been good to me, bro. I don't know, man. Like Cleveland, Pittsburgh area right there, dude, right on the border of PA and Ohio, bro. There's some loads, bro. There's some loads, and they're paying well. So I mean, that's why like you really got to stay in decent markets, bro. Like you're better off taking a little bit less money and bouncing from one good market to another one. It's honestly been working for me. I've been posting the videos too. I don't know if you guys see them, but I show like how much the truck made, what areas it goes to, so you guys can check that shit out. With credit score 740, do you think you get favorable rates and approved for a loan for a truck? With a 740, yeah, bro. 740, you definitely. With a 740, I would give you a link, but I don't think the link I have, you don't need it, bro. With a 740, you should be looking for unsecured, bro. 6 came out today and said, dude, here, man. I hope so. I think so. How many percentage from the load usually dispatch getting? Depends. Are you working?
All right, hang on. Let me do this. All right. We're going to move into this now. All right. I'm going to move into, because I'm running a little short on time. That's Bobby Lowe. Check him out. I'm going to try to have him on. All right. So let me I know you guys want to talk about this, but we're going to talk about this war type shit. We're going to talk about this going on here. Hang on. Be right back, Bobby. Okay. Let me pull this up right here. We're going to talk about this here. Perfect. Okay. So what's going on with the war right now, and that's going to affect both logistics and things like that, is going to be now, okay, let's start here. So in regards to the war, I am not going to say, I'm not going to talk about which regime and if Trump and how that's all, that whole aspect of it, right? It is what it is. Would I have done it? Probably not the way that it was done. I definitely would have not been pushed into it while everything that, the other stuff that's kind of going on right now. Because Iran and the Middle East kind of fights battles a little bit differently than we would think. And I know right now everybody's kind of like, well, we could go in there and our Air Force and our military could crush them. And this is true. But the problem is that if you only look at conflict and war the same way, meaning big guy takes little guy, then guess what? Yes. But the problem is that wars are now, and have always been, but definitely in the Middle East, are fought a hell of a lot differently than they have been in the past. Everything from cyber to lawfare to basically, I think it was 1999 book written by the two Chinese colonels, Unrestricted Warfare. So there's a lot of aspects in regards for America for other countries to fight an American war. Now, I know everybody's like, well, we have NATO and things like that, and I know some people want to pull away from NATO, and because they don't understand how NATO works. And I've explained this a couple times before. So let's just talk about NATO real quick, and then I'll go into this. So NATO, although everybody thinks that we are NATO and we're a big portion of NATO and we pay all the money into NATO, and without us, NATO would be nothing. Well, the problem is without the other countries, it kind of goes both ways, right? So if you want to look at how the best way to understand NATO, think of the United States as the hammer and all of the other countries in NATO as the nails, right? And if you're trying to build something or you're trying to build a house, it's great to have a hammer, but if you don't have any nails, you can't build the house, okay? You can pound as much as you want, but it just won't work. And the reason I explain this is, although we definitely have the strongest military aspect of NATO, most of the wars that we're fighting, and of course we are the only ones who's ever used Article 5 with NATO, and that was 9/11. Most of the wars that we're fighting are not here in America. They're in other countries. They're in the Middle East. And where the other countries of NATO come in is if we were to declare an Article 5 and we were to go over to the Middle East, we need the other countries to help refuel our jets, feed our people, refuel our ships, help us replenish, use their ports, use their intel. So it's not just about how many other soldiers can help the hammer. It's about all of because logistics wins wars. It's about all of the other aspects of war that is needed rather than just a hammer. And these are the things that basically play a big role in regards to NATO, right? They need our hammer, but we need the nails. And when understanding that, people can get a little better grasp on why NATO is important and why we're important to NATO and why NATO is important to us, right? If something were to happen, we want some place to be able to bring our ships into port and refuel them. Put more food on the ships. Repair our ships if something were to happen. Fuel our aircraft. Land our aircraft, because eventually our aircraft have to land. So it's nice to have airports they can take off from and airports that they can land that are a part of NATO, and that is a big role of NATO. So The other issue is that when it comes to going to war with Iran, it's not about just being a hammer and trying to hit Iran with a hammer and expecting that we win, we beat you with a hammer. Iran and the people of Iran and Middle Eastern countries have been countries longer than we've been countries. They've been in wars and conflict longer than we've been in wars and conflict, which is kind of weird because I think we've been in conflict for like 200 and something years of our 250 years of our. Anyways, so in my opinion, to go over there and do regime change and not have a plan, because Trump and the administration has already kind of admitted that they didn't really have a plan, can be kind of chaotic, can be kind of dangerous, because you're not going to just go over there and unalive a leader. And I understand he's not like the president and things like that, but he's definitely one of their leaders, per se. And then just expect, hey, okay, it's over now, because they're going to create a vacuum. And there's going to be a vacuum, just like, hey, guess what we did? You guys know we went over to Afghanistan to fight the Taliban, right? 20 years later, we were still using the hammer. And by the time we left, guess who's in charge of Afghanistan? The Taliban. So that didn't go well, right? That didn't go well. So when we look at aspects of this and you think that, yes, we went over there to do this, and we said, yep, we're going to win their war because we can bomb them, they don't have to fight back. It's not about how many of their ships we sink or how many of their planes or buildings we destroyed over there as much as it is what can they do to affect our logistics, to affect our supply chains, to cause other types of chaos in the system. And one thing of chaos that they do in the system is they attack our allies. They attack other, which they are. They're attacking Dubai, I think Qatar, and things like that they will cause, this type of stuff so that chaos erupts in other countries if they can, causing everything from migration crisis to stuff like that. Okay. So one of the issues we have going on right now is the Straits. The old Straits. So the problem is this is where obviously you can see a ton of, these are tankers. Red ships are tankers. Green are container. And there's a ton of red. Red ships kind of waiting to go through here to be able to deliver oil and things like that to different countries. And you can kind of see that we have a buildup. Now, you might remember, if you want to remember the last time we had kind of a buildup, it was the Evergreen. And that caused major problems in regards to shipping when, the Evergreen blocked where ships couldn't get around it. Well, what's going on here? A couple things. One of the things that they've threatened is they've threatened to destroy any ships or sink any ships or attack any ships that end up going through the strait over here, right? But the problem is that it's not so much the fact that, well, just bring the Navy in there and let the U.S. Navy patrol that area and they can handle it. It's not so much about the ships not going through there. It's also about the fact that ships need insurance. And insurance companies don't like insuring ships that they know they could possibly lose money on. I know. It's weird like that. So a lot of the insurance, wartime insurance, war risk insurance, has been canceled. And it's going to be, now, will it be renewed? Probably. But it's going to be renewed at a way higher price than it would have been before this conflict. It was already kind of up there. It wasn't immensely high, but it was definitely higher than normal because we had the Houthis launching rockets at ships. That kind of put a little bit of a damper on insurance prices. But now that we're technically in conflict with Iran, war, as it spirals out of control, as you can see right here, running out of missiles. Who's running out of missiles? Us? Maybe. We're starting to see a buildup of these ships, okay? Problem is these ships are not just oil. These ships are also fertilizer. And And we're coming into times where, I understand most farmers here probably already got the fertilizer they need for this season, but they have there's multiple seasons of farming, as you may or may not know. So let me see. Did I save this one? Let's see. I did. All right.
What's happening right now in Iran and in the Gulf is, of course, a massive story. It's got geopolitical consequences, military consequences. I suspect we're going to be talking about it for months, maybe years. But it's worth just trying to unpick some of the economics here. And
okay.
Again, that is something that's going to take a while. But already there's a few things that occur. And one of them is gas prices. I'm going to get to gas in a second because it is a massive issue. It could well be that cost of living crisis that we feel is just about over might be about to resurface again, unfortunately. But first of all, let's just look at the backdrop to this, okay? Because this is kind of about geography and geology as well as economics. And the geography and geology of it comes back to the fact that this area here, the Gulf, Saudi there, UAE, Iran, this area here is the single biggest concentration of hydrocarbons, of energy, anywhere in the world.
Energy now. Energy. Now, remember, food is energy, so fertilizer would kind of fall into that, needing food, needing energy.
We're talking about energy, there's gas, but famously, there's also crude oil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 5 biggest oil fields, so oil fields where you get that crude out of the ground, the 5 biggest ones in the world, and it so happens 4 of them are here in the Gulf. You've got Ghawar. Now, this is the Saudi, the elephant, the biggest of all the oil fields anywhere in the world. It's the story of basically how Saudi became a massive petrostate. Ghawar, it's located just around there. That's number 1 in the world. Number 2 is Kuwait, Bogan in Kuwait, massive oil field as well. Number 3 is in China. Number 4, it's in Iran. Number 4 is Iran. And number 5 is there in the UAE. So just kind of off the coast of the UAE. Big oil fields. And like I say, nowhere else on the planet has this concentration. And what else do you notice? You notice that they're all within this Gulf. And that if you're getting a tanker out from somewhere like Ghawar, Ras Tanura is the name of the port there, then you need to sail it through here. This is the Strait of Hormuz. And anything coming in and out of the Gulf, apart from a little bit, I'll show you in a second, but anything coming in and out of the Gulf basically has to go through this rather narrow channel that has Iran on the north. And for a long time, people have been very worried that if this gets shut down to marine traffic, then you have a big problem.
Now remember, you don't just have to shut it down. One of the aspects that people don't understand is it's not always about completely shutting it down. It could be what we call bullwhip effect. Turning it on, turning it off, turning it on, turning it off, stuff like that. That also causes just as much chaos as shutting it down. Shutting it down, people can say, well, it's shut down. Let's go look someplace else. Let's go find it someplace else. Not, okay, got it. But if you turn it on, turn it off, it's like, well, we don't need to look someplace else because they turned it back on again. We're good. Oh, damn it, they shut it off. Oh, damn it, they turned it on. That's almost more chaotic than just turning it, just closing it, and all of a sudden you're getting it from elsewhere.
And why do you have a problem? Because there's just a lot of stuff going through there. Have a look at this. This is showing you just the weight in tons of how much stuff passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Mostly it's crude, obviously, just as in terms of tons. You've got those big oil tankers, but also there's liquefied natural gas. You've got other petrochemicals as well, fertilizer, grains as well. The grains are actually kind of coming into the Gulf because people need to eat there.
Yeah, that's coming in.
And most of that gets imported. But even more striking than this, okay, this is just showing the total amount going through there. Let's look at the proportion of these things that depends on that strait, that narrow strait. The proportion of, for instance, fertilizer that goes through the Strait of Hormuz, global fertilizer supply, it's about 34%.
Now that's global, okay? We get a lot from Canada. So that was Canada's aspect we got from. So we're good there. But globally, everybody else kind of needs food too. Weird, I know.
So a third of the world's fertilizer needs to go through that narrow strait to get to us, to feed the rest of the world. It's not just oil, in other words. It's also kind of petrochemicals.
Even the vegans?
Well, no, yeah, especially the vegans, because that's all we eat is plants. That's all we eat is leaves and sticks.
Pharmaceuticals and crude oil and obviously liquefied natural gas. And I'll get back to gas in a second, because like I said, that's just as important as crude oil.
Now remember, I'm going to play this. So liquefied natural gas is about 19%. I'm going to play another video for you guys to kind of understand that we are the #1 exporter of liquefied natural gas, okay? Now, our liquefied natural gas helps power our electricity because it's easier to turn a natural gas plant on and off than turn a nuclear plant on and off, okay? So, now we also have solar and wind and stuff like that. Trump don't like that. But what you need to understand is that natural gas is sold supply and demand. If there is more demand to sell our natural gas overseas, we, the U.S., will be competing for it. Because when the new administration came into office, they lifted all of the exports. Like the previous one put a ban on exports. So because they wanted us to kind of fill up our natural gas here before we send it overseas. There's no ban on that. Now, he could, and probably it'd be in our best interest, because now the natural gas companies are going to be putting foreign markets in competition with American markets, and it's going to go to the highest bidder.
In many senses. But anyway, there's the strait. That stuff needs to pass through there. And this is the number one issue here. It's about geography and it's about this choke point. And if you just zoom in here and look at the traffic passing through. So this was what was happening to shipping back on Friday, so before the attacks. And then on Saturday, news broke of the attacks on Tehran. And just look at the shipping. Look at how some of these ships, there's just not as many of them. They're not flowing as freely. It's beginning to ebb, and you're starting to see them collect in different areas outside of the straits, waiting essentially for instructions as to whether they can pass through, to the extent that by Sunday, the flows were down by 75%. And there's very few. Normally, it's about 100 passing through every day. Just in the last day, it's about 6. It's about 6. So this massively important choke point is essentially, if not completely choked, then people are very nervous about passing through it for obvious reasons. And that has consequences on oil prices to start with. This is what's happened to oil prices today alone, up by 9%. But if you were to have a complete closure of the Strait of Hormuz, or at least, well, even if it was just like half closed, you're talking about that line going up much higher. If it's fully closed, look at what potentially happens. So it's partly about whether you're able to get stuff in.
Okay, now, there's another person on X, which I wish I could get into their room, but he's got me banned, and he won't, there's no way he's going to interact with me. His name's Marlon. A lot of these people think that right now we're paying oil prices based on $90 a barrel, okay? Now, the gasoline prices based on $90 a barrel. So what I want you guys to understand is that although right now we're paying $2, let's say $3 for a gallon of gas, the price of oil is not the only thing that raises your cost. Obviously, taxes do, but if it costs more money to get oil out of the ground, meaning the price of steel goes up. If the price of steel goes up, that means the price of casings go up. If the price of casings go up, that means that they have to make the price has to go up, right? Because, or they're going to do it, or there's going to be, so instead of me costing me, let's say, turning a profit at $50 a barrel, now I have to turn a profit at $60 a barrel, right? So there's no need for me to do to sell oil at $50 a barrel if I'm losing $10 because of the price of steel. So as you start to see the price of oil go up, you have to realize that that's going to affect you at the gas pump also, because there's also other factors that are also affecting you at the gas pump. Again, like I said, the price of oil going up is going to affect the gas pump. Now, it might cost you an extra $20 a week. It might cost you an extra $30 a week. Is that brutal? No, not really. But the issue is that we've laid down a lot of oil rigs, and it takes a good amount of time to get those oil rigs back up and running. So it's not like we can just the United States can just pump, drill, baby, drill, and fill the coffers. So what's probably going to happen is, one of the first things that would happen is we would pull oil from the strategic reserves. Now, should we? We shouldn't, because that should be for the purposes of an emergency, not for lower fuel prices. But we will find out.
Now, and these lines, I mean, it might not be as bad as that, but that depends on finding alternative ways of getting the oil out.
Now, also, some of the container companies have basically said, yeah, we're not going through there. We're not paying the price. We're not paying the insurance. We're not going through there. We're going around.
One way, so you've got the strait there, and that's part of the issue here. If you can't use that, one way, for instance, Saudi could counteract it is there is a pipeline, the East-West pipeline in Saudi. It could get some of the oil across from there and send it to the Red Sea instead. And you could send it off up through the Suez Canal, or you could send it down south here. So you've got the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. But first, two issues with this. First of all, there's not all that much extra capacity there. So that's not...
Yeah, that they're already doing that, so you're not pumping much more into that pipeline.
Not going to replace all of those tankers that need to go through there. Secondly, well, if you've been following the news recently, you'll know there's a problem there as well. Houthi rebels doing lots of attacks on ships at the Bab el-Mandeb Strait.
Yeah, so you already have Houthi that can basically start attacking you, and they will if they're a part of... So now you've got two straits that are going to be hit. One's going to be Houthis, and two's going to be Iran. So you're probably not going to do that.
And so you've got two pinch points here where you've got big question marks over them. Now, when it comes to this, getting your stuff in and out the Red Sea.
And the phone line is open, right, Sonia?
His number, 856-600-4654, Sage Outcast.
The good news is there is at least an alternative. Rather than going through the Red Sea, you can just go all the way around the Cape of Good Hope, around Africa, as if you're going to Europe, this is, and get it across into the Mediterranean or elsewhere. But with the Strait of Hormuz, there is just no alternative. There's no good alternative apart from that pipeline of getting oil in and out. So people are very nervous about that. So that's the geography side of it. The other side of it, okay, is if you look at some of these installations, so this is Ras Laffan. It's the biggest gas terminal in the world. We went there a few years ago, really interesting place. This is Ras Tanura. This is that last one was Qatar. This is Saudi Arabia. And this is where basically Gawar, that massive oil field, it's where it pumps its stuff, it gets refined and it gets put onto ships. These two places are both now under attack. So the second issue is not just about getting stuff in and out, it's about whether you can actually get the stuff out of the ground. And just now, we've just heard, really in the last few hours, so that's Ras Tanura, there it is, one of the biggest oil terminals in the world, in fact, the biggest oil terminal in the world. That's Ras Laffan. We've just heard that Ras Laffan, for the first time, has just shut down operations. They say hopefully temporarily, but it's been under attack. We've never seen things quite this serious before in the Gulf of Arabia. And this matters enormously, okay? Because it's not just oil, it's also gas that you find in the Gulf. And this area here, the bit that Ras Laffan is essentially plugged into, is what's known as the North Field. The North Field, I talked about kind of oil fields a moment ago. This is a gas field. And actually, this is even bigger, just in terms of pure energy, than any of those oil fields, even bigger. And it's partly shared by Qatar, and then, ironically, Iran as well. They're both kind of sticking their straws into the same gas field. And what does this matter to us here in Europe? Well, it matters because we are very reliant on Qatari gas, and we're likely to get even more reliant in the coming years because, well, have a look at this, okay? This is showing you where UK gas is kind of our consumption this last couple of years and then going out into the future. And if you break it down by where that gas is expected to come from, more or less,
okay,
have a look. Dark blue is the North Sea. Look at how those dark blue bits get smaller and smaller. That's because there is less oil and gas coming out of the North Sea, or at least kind of projected to come out of the North Sea. But now look at the red bits. So right now, or at least in 2024, only about 2% of UK supply came from Qatar. But
Qatar is, I think, the second largest to us.
There's a big deal that's just been signed that basically says Qatar's going to be contracted to provide 10 billion cubic meters, a lot more natural gas this year and then in the coming years as well, to the extent that by 2035, about a fifth of UK gas is projected to come from Qatar. In fact, even more coming from Qatar than from the North Sea. So we're very plugged into the area in the Gulf as well.
Yeah, because right now, remember, we are the top exporter of natural gas.
Even if you might not be aware of it. And that is why this is
United States
showing you gas prices in the UK. That is why this has just happened. Look at what's just happened to gas prices. You saw earlier the oil price up by 9%. That's 50% in a single day. And while the level, okay, so it's only the highest level since February 2025, so it's just over a year ago. While the level is not as high as it was back in 2022, that one-day increase in gas prices is the biggest that we have seen since the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. In other words, this is a worrying portent, potentially, of what might be coming, just as we think that we have escaped the...
Now, question, and I'm going to explain this. I'm going to have another video to explain this. That means here in the United States, we are now competing to be able to provide natural gas both to the UK and to the American citizens. Okay? So, if you have, right now, if you had a gas manufacturing company, and the UK says, we need gas, we literally can't get it from these other countries. We can't get it from these other countries. Name your price. You're going to name your price. Right? Oh, hang on. Let me hit this button here. Hang on.
To accept.
I've now accepted. How can I directly direct your gas calls?
Well, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, you're online. It's how I answer the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was wondering about the gas prices and how that affect the overall, the supply chain management and with the trucking.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that was a question.
Okay, you broke up.
Yeah, I'm looking for your input on how the gas prices are going to affect the trucking industry.
How gasoline prices or diesel prices?
Yeah. No, the price of your butthole gas. Probably asshole.
Gotcha. All right. That being said,
energy price shock and the cost of living crisis. Who knows? It might well be that what's happening in Iran right now, what's happening in the Middle East, might well bring it back. We hope not. But so far, that's what the economics is pointing towards.
all right. That being said, now let me do this here. Is it this one? Yes, and let me do this. Now, I'm going to talk about this real quick, too.
Being raised of just shrimping right here, you know, it's devastated what we do.
This is Cameron, Louisiana. 40 years ago, it was the top seafood port in the United States. But there's a new industry here that's driving fishermen out and is driving up your energy bill.
The U.S. is about to dominate liquid natural gas exports.
Liquefied natural.
Okay. I basically, I deliver into these facilities from my manufacturer. So one of my manufacturer builds fiberglass tanks, steel tanks, mostly fiberglass tanks. And I've been delivering into this facility for, Jesus, Mashev, it's years, it feels like. It feels like years, to be completely honest. I don't know if it has been, but I want to say 3 years. I've been delivering 3 or 4 years. We've been delivering tanks into this facility for both of these projects.
Natural gas or LNG.
We opened the sale of LNG immediately, actually.
Has the LNG been affecting the oyster?
Oh, yeah, we're going to show you exactly what.
All right, so one of the things that happened when Trump came into office, like I said, it doesn't matter, is Biden put he basically said, hey, he put restrictions on selling natural gas, on exports of natural gas, on building new export facilities of natural gas. He basically said, hey, one of the things that we don't want to do is compete against other countries for our natural gas. So he limited the amount of exporting of natural gas out to other countries. Again, now natural gas is used for electricity for our country, okay? So we, rather than have to compete to the highest bidder, he basically said, hey, we're going to do this. Doesn't matter if you like him or not. I'm just saying what he did. One of the things that Trump did when he came back into office was reverse that and opened it up so that exports, natural gas exports, could be sold to other countries again. Okay.
The problem is, well,
So we went to Southwest Louisiana, where exporting natural gas is big business, to find out what are the costs.
It doesn't benefit none of us.
This is America Last policy. Your bill will continue to go up.
Now this is, and the reason I'm playing this just came out, I think, yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Again, this was probably made before they knew that what was going to be happening with the war. This is going to get worse with the exporting of gas the longer this goes on with Iran.
Who really benefits?
What are you projecting for this year?
Significant earnings growth.
And what does it mean for the people here?
This isn't a handful of people that are crying about this. This is real life for them.
They don't care about us.
Now, this is great if you're an overdimensional freight like I am, and you're delivering fiberglass tanks to these facilities and things like that, right? Which I do. But this is also an aspect that if you're in OD freight, things are about to get busy. Things are about to get real busy.
We just in their way.
Are you the oysters?
Oh yeah. Tad Terrio and Sky Leger farm oysters here in Cameron, Louisiana.
Before you try it, tell me would you eat it if you knew that was there?
No, what is that, sediment?
That's a mud blister.
How's that get in there?
That's a good question.
No one wants to buy that.
Oyster farming is sort of a new business for Tad, who traditionally caught shrimp for a living.
I put my kids through college shrimping, with a shrimp boat.
You think you'd be able to do that now?
No, hell no. No. No shrimper can make it here, no.
Shrimpers here deal with a lot. Devastating hurricanes, imported frozen seafood. It's made the heyday of Cameron's fishing industry a distant memory.
Shrimping is a different lifestyle. You don't get paid by the hour, you get paid by what you can put on the boat.
But over the last few years, shrimpers are catching about half of what they used to. And people here want answers as to why.
Shrimping's been going down since the plant started.
The plant is Calcasieu Pass, or CP1. It's run by a company called Venture Global.
Yeah, CP1 is one of the plants that I'm taking a bunch of tanks into.
They cool natural gas to a liquid in order to shrink it in volume and load it onto massive ships that are sent overseas.
Prior to 2016, there was no liquefied natural gas export market in the United States. That changed with the rise of fracking. We went from having shortages of natural gas to having abundant domestic supplies of gas.
But this abundance actually became a problem for the industry. It drove natural gas prices down, so they needed new buyers.
Industry's main priority beginning in the early 2010s was how to move natural gas out of North America.
And the Gulf quickly became a crucial part of that strategy, for reasons both geographic and financial.
Cameron Parish doesn't have a sales tax.
James Hyatt is a former oil and gas worker who founded a community organization called For a Better Bayou.
They get a massive industrial tax exemption on the property tax. That's the key. They don't only export gas, they export the profits. They don't stay in the community.
Louisiana is arguably the friendliest state in the U.S. for industrial development and fair environmental policy and outstanding tax policy.
When you turn here, the cranes off in the distance is the expansion to CP1, Venture Global. 12 miles back into town is Hackberry LNG. Probably about 30 miles this direction is Sabine LNG. So you're just surrounded.
But the rush to build billion-dollar plants is already causing collateral damage.
Trash. You noticed it in the cages right away.
A dredging incident in Cameron Parish. Venture Global LNG was dredging and accidentally spilled hundreds of acres of mud into the bayou.
Dredging is basically moving mud and sediment to clear a path for ships and construction.
You see how the water's green here when the spill happened? If the wind changed any at all, it was chocolate milk instantly.
Tad says the dredge spill ruined hundreds of thousands of his oysters.
Half of them died. We lost, 50%. On the big ones, even more than that.
After this spill, more people are understanding these corporations don't give a fuck about you.
Venture Global says that the spill didn't cause any impacts, even though the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries said in September that the oyster reefs near the spill saw an increase in oyster mortality. But according to documents we obtained, the company offered some people $20,000 on the condition that they could never sue or speak negatively about Venture Global.
That's not right. I have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of oyster. I want hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Do you feel like they care?
I don't know. I feel like they're a big company and we're little people. That's what I feel like.
What kind of ship is that?
That's an LNG ship.
That's LNG?
Yep.
Now that's coming in empty to fill up.
To watch these tankers leave every day and to know that your bill will continue to go up, and not only because of increased demand, but because of increased exports.
The U.S. is now the top exporter of natural gas in the world, and that's raising...
We are now the top export. Oh, Australia was number 2. I thought Qatar. Well, either way. We are the top exporter of natural gas, right? Top exporter of natural gas. So, if right now Qatar and is having an issue and all that are having issues when they're not dealing with Russia, who are they going to come to with this war? Well, they're going to come to us. They're going to need our natural gas.
Prices for Americans. The federal government projects the spot price for natural gas will average 22% higher than it did in 2025, and said last year that LNG exports are driving prices upwards.
It's simple supply and demand. You're forcing Americans to compete with their counterparts in Berlin and Beijing for access to U.S. natural gas. And the more we export, the higher the prices the rest of Americans will pay to heat and cool their homes.
It's that simple. I've said this for months and months and months and months and months and months and months. And now with the conflict over there. So what I'm telling you is expect that your air conditioning bill, your electric bill, your bill that you pay to have the lights on could go up.
Nearly 74 million American households are hooked up to natural gas.
So in regards to logistics, if you are in any way, shape, or form open deck, overdimensional stuff like this, expect a boom, a hard push, maybe even Defense Production Act push to get these places up and running.
For cooking and heating, and it's the primary source of energy used in the electrical grid. Even people in Louisiana are feeling the pinch. So this is the cooler here?
Yes, this is the cooler part. It stays around 39 degrees.
Eddie Lejeune is a fisherman who lives with his wife Michelle in Hackberry, Louisiana. They're minutes down the road from one of Cameron Parish's 3 export terminals. And like most Americans, they say their electric bills have spiked in the last few years.
So have you seen your bill go up with the cooler bill?
Yes, I can't shut it down to conserve on energy, because if I didn't have the cooler and the ice, I couldn't sell fish when I wanted to. Yeah, we're catching less fish, less money, paying higher bills.
Hey, babe. I mean, you can't afford this and food. What are you going to do? You going to eat, or are you going to have electricity?
We are in the middle of an affordability crisis in this country. And to know that your price goes up while these billionaires just pocket the money as shareholder value is the only thing we care about.
Venture Global projects it made $6 billion last year, more than doubling its profits from the previous year.
Ultimately, our business is that we manufacture and operate machines that produce money.
In 2024, a group of oil and gas executives met with former President Donald Trump behind closed doors. According to the Wall Street Journal, Venture Global's CEO was there too. Trump reportedly asked the CEOs to contribute $1 billion to his campaign, promising to deliver for them, including by overturning a Biden administration pause on LNG export terminals.
I will sign
That's what I was talking about.
day one orders to cancel his natural gas export ban.
And when Trump won, Venture Global gave $1 million to his inauguration fund.
CEO of Venture Global, Mike Sable.
They're very smart businessmen and lawyers.
Lobbyists on Venture Global's payroll have included Mary Landrieu, a former U.S. senator and member of a Louisiana Democratic dynasty, and Brian Lanza, one of the Trump campaign's top advisors.
They're the only oil and gas company I've ever heard of that started up in Arlington, Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. And because of their closeness to the Trump administration and to the wheels of power, they've been able to do pretty much.
So I'm saying if you are not using LED light bulbs, you might as well go get them.
Whatever they want.
2 months after taking office, the Trump administration approved a second Venture Global terminal in Cameron, which is known as CP2.
Ultimately, CP2 over the life of the project will generate several $100 billion.
But the export boom Trump delivered for LNG companies is coming at the expense of one of his other campaign
If you guys do me a favor, hit the like, share this out. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. That'd be great.
promises, a promise he made to the rest of us.
Your energy prices will be cut in half within 12 months from January 20th.
Instead, what Trump has
Well, that might not be the case.
done is to prioritize the financial interests of the natural gas industry. And the natural gas industry's primary financial directive is to maximize LNG exports.
I'm also pleased to announce that Japan, India, South Korea, the European Union is suddenly talking about buying. Wants to greatly expand. We'll soon begin importing historic new shipments of American energy, American beautiful natural gas. Everybody wants to buy it.
Now, this is America Last policy to export our natural resources to the highest bidder at the expense of every American.
True. I mean, and this is some of the stuff, like I said, now it's going to get worse. And the reason I'm bringing this up is conflict with Iran.
Well, I mean, I voted for Trump's. Will I do it again? I doubt it.
Philip Dyson lives less than a mile from CP1. He's been fishing here all of his life.
There used to be 200 shrimp boats in this town. Now there's 15. You went from a fishing town to a town they care less about the fishing.
More than 90% of Cameron Parish voters cast their ballot for Trump in 2024.
They said they're helping us, but where? Where are they helping us? They just shoving more LNG plants down us. They ain't stopping the imports. Everything he said he was going to do for the fishermen, he ain't done shit. Not my knowledge.
Everybody has put LNG plants before the people.
Would you vote for President Trump again?
No, I'm not. I'm hoping we have a better selection of something.
Since Trump undid Biden's pause, the federal government and LNG companies are trying to expand export capacity even further. If you could say something to them, what would you say?
We'll find somebody somewhere else to build this shit. I'll never.
And I'm not against exporting. I'm just saying, hey, maybe before we export, we should kind of say, well, we're going to lock the price in here so that you can't charge the Americans. You can't start exporting when we need more here. That makes sense, right?
I thought I'd have seen this place like this ever in my lifetime.
17 new export terminals are either under construction or have been approved by the federal government, and 6 of them are in Southwest Louisiana. Venture Global wants to build 2 more terminals here in Cameron. So if it keeps going on like this, do you think you'll be able to stay here and keep doing what you're doing?
My wife wants to move. She wants me to give this up. That's all I've ever done. So what do you do? I'm 62 years old.
They'd vote for him again because the farmers voted for him twice, knowing what happened the first time. They voted against their own self-interest.
True. The farmers did vote for him. Well, I don't know about all farmers, but a few farmers definitely did do that. And one of the problems that we ran into with the first time was tariffs. And anybody can look up 2018 tariffs and the freight recession, and China stopped buying a lot of our soybeans. We weren't prepared for that. So we had to bail out the farmers, I think $28 billion because of that. And then following that, China basically said, well, this could happen again, so we're going to start incentivizing Brazil and Argentina to plant soybeans, and we'll start buying soybeans from Argentina and Brazil. And then we built up Brazil.
Heard all over.
Which I don't I don't know how that worked.
From working for all my life.
Allegedly.
What does a person like me do next?
I got mama, daddy, everybody buried here. We cremate daughter. We put some of her in the rivers. I would never want to leave her behind, but I'm gonna have to. This is what I do. That's what I'm gonna do till they throw dirt on me.
I think so.
I might not be here, but I will fish till it's over.
That's the gist of it. All right. Let me see here. What is going on? Is there anything else I wanted to cover? Because I am still doing. I'm trying to get certified in a couple more things real quick, and then I should be up and good to go. And then most likely I'll have a new website to present and a new push and stuff like that. But I'm thinking it's going to take the rest of this week, so probably start of next week. Next week I should be back on schedule and able to do this again. So that being said, I am going to duck out of here. And stay safe. Don't get captured. I'm out. Maybe.
Hear the echoes in the night sky, where stars and headlights entwine. Tales of diesel and determination, living life beyond the white line.
On a desert stretch where silence roars, tires hum a solemn tune. Every journey writes its saga in the glow of the highway moon.
Sage outcast, sports hat, where the big lows, big roads meet, talking miles, talking mental. Every rig, every route, every week, sage outcast. From the yard to the last white line. If it's trucking and bones, deep hustle. You tune into that state of mind. Keep the fire burning bright.
While the world fades into night, through the miles, through the time, we ride on in the endless climb.
Okay.
Sage, I'm sorry.